you find time for the stuff that's important. If you want to hit the gym and you have a busy life, like you get up at 4 a.m. and you go hit the gym. It's always finding the extra time to get it done. And, people are like, aren't you tired and stuff like that? And I don't, if you've got like this like brain that can constantly keeps going and like you're excited for the future and like everything you're building, I don't think you need like a ton of sleep. Like you can figure it out.
What's up, everybody? Chris Kiblen here with the Suited for Greatness podcast. Just wanted to say welcome to Don from Tweeds Custom Suits being one of our special guests. We are in the awesome Preferred Shore studio, so thank you, Robert and Milligan, for allowing us to use your location as one of our platinum partners. And also we got Don from Tweeds, who's also one of our platinum partners. And, one of the things that Don is helping us out with is his special suits. So, like, if you haven't seen, like, any of Don's stuff, make sure you check him out. I'm actually wearing his, black window pane with
some beautiful red accents. And then, it's unbelievable.
So with my own logo on the inside. We were talking about this actually earlier with Robert, and you actually, I think it's actually one of the things that you say is dress. What was it? What's one of your quotes with the way you dress?
Dress for success.
Dress for success, but like there was something like that's you dress good or feel good.
Oh, look good, feel good, do good.
Yeah. I think that's.
Yeah, I didn't come up with that, but
whatever.
Yeah.
But like one of the things that about I try to explain to people, for anybody who wears a suit or anybody that wants to get dressed up, there is something to be said about a custom suit or custom shirts or something custom that you're wearing. When it fits you and it's just got that right body type to you, every time I put on one of your suits, and and I always go back to the story with you, is that I used to buy my suits, from wherever, Dillard's and all kinds of different places, right? And and I thought I was still getting a pretty decent suit, and then you finally talked me into getting my first custom suit
out of the box truck.
Out of the box. And after that, it was like, I didn't know the difference. But I tell you what, every time I put on one of your suits now and I go out, I just feel so much better about myself. I'm more confident about myself. I like the way that I feel in a custom suit, and it really does make a huge difference, and so like I don't know, I just feel so much better in it.
Well, I think there's something to be said when you you take the time to schedule an appointment, you come in, we spend 30 minutes measuring you, talking about the fit, and then when the final product comes in, you built it out, you designed it, like it's perfect. Yeah, rather than just like grabbing something off the shelf,
It's so much, and even if you go to a store and you buy it off the rack and they do their measurements, it's still not the same. No. It's just. I mean, it doesn't fit you the same around the legs or the arms. Because they don't customize it, that part. Yeah, they might be able to customize the length of it, maybe change the waist or a little bit, but it doesn't really change all that. And when it is truly custom to what you're wearing and the way that it feels, it just feels like it's a part of you, and you don't feel like you're just. It's just, I don't know. I can't explain it, but I definitely.
It's a good feeling.
It's a great feeling, and the problem is my pocketbook doesn't like it, but it gets.
It's a little bit of an investment.
It's a little bit of an investment.
But you have it for a long time.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah. Let's be honest. I don't know, how long have you been in business now?
5 years. We just celebrated 5 years. Yeah.
So like I know. I think I bought my first suit from you about a year in.
Yeah. Probably.
So, and that was I believe it was my Own Your Day suit. And so that one there, is 4 years, but they last for a long time. Yep. It's an investment, but again, the confidence that it brings, it's worth it. Yeah. So, if I could say anything, it's like, if you don't have at least one custom suit, you got to do it. Just do it with one, right? So, but enough about your suits. We'll talk more about them. But, I really wanted to have you in. you've been, on my recent shows a couple times now, and so like this one here, we started up.
How many have we done together?
This will be our third.
Okay.
So
we did it.
You were my very first person on the Real Hustle podcast.
Yeah.
And then we had you opened up your first store here in Sarasota.
Were those two at the same studio? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, they were back in my old studio. Yeah. And so now we've decided to come up with something a little bit more creative.
Yeah.
Talk about a little bit of different lifestyle. We're talking about some different things, different locations. We're going to use some of your locations as, filming some of our podcasts as well. And so, but, really, I mean, I've known you for a while now, and I've always admired your hustle. And really, the thing is like, I remember back in the day when you worked for your dad, just even selling dry cleaning to get me to use your dad's dry cleaning business. And I was impressed with you back then on how you used to work. And I tell people, I don't know if you know this or not, but I tell people your story all the time. I remember you'd be like, I'd go drop somebody's dry cleaning off, and I'd go door knock. I'd go 5 houses down one way and 5 houses down the other way.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you?
And so, hey, I just dropped, such and such, his dry cleaning off. This is the service we offer here.
Yeah. Door knocking is fun.
And so, well, you know what though? The thing is like so many people don't realize is that they're scared to door knock because, of that no, or like, get out of here. What do you want? Yeah,
but I'll tell you, I've knocked on, I don't know. I mean, I don't knock on doors anymore, but back in the dry cleaning days, I knocked on, I would guess, tens of thousands of doors. It's all I did every day, especially on the weekends. I'd get up early and, that was when people were home. And I mean, the percentage of people who were mad or, whatever, like, was so low. It wasn't even something to talk about because the amount of people that were either like, maybe they didn't use the service, but they were like, I love your hustle, whatever. They give you words of encouragement, like overrid all that.
And I mean, and that's the thing is like, and I tell people that, and I was like, I've known you for so long now. I remember they're like, because a lot of people don't know you. They just know you from Tweeds, right? But they don't know the days of you back in the dry cleaning business. Yeah. And so I know you from then. And then once you became and you decided to open up decided to open up Tweeds, and you came up with the idea. So tell us a little bit about that so people get a little bit more of a backstory of how you got started in this business.
I'll give the backstory for people who don't know any of it. So I worked with my dad in the dry cleaning business from 2012 to 2019. My dad's always been in the dry cleaning business. And so before that, I was working at Universal Studios as a magician. I used to do a lot of...
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
No.
Really?
That's see.
Okay.
All right, third podcast, so that's before. Something I didn't know.
All right, so magic was my life for a long time, card tricks and stuff. Like that was my obsession. And so I worked at Universal Studios as a magician, and that was like my dream. Like I thought that was going to be like my career. Got fired because I couldn't sell enough. Because it was like a little bit of a sales position, but like you would do a 15-minute magic show, and then you'd have to go sell the product after to the people. Okay. Got fired from that. Started, I cried because I thought that, I was like, this was my opportunity. And then asked my dad if I can work for him. Started knocking on doors, built a pickup and delivery service for his business. I did that for 7 years, got burnt out. I wanted to do something else. I didn't know what it was going to be. Me and my fiance went on a 10-day road trip. We went to New Orleans, Texas, Arkansas, and during that trip got inspired to get into the custom clothing business. So the day we got back, I sold my car. I bought a 16-foot box truck, built a suit shop inside of it, called it Tweeds, and here we are.
So one of the things that I'd like to always find out is how did you discover the name?
Tweeds?
Yes.
I didn't know what the heck I was going to call it. I was like, I wanted like maybe the word suits to be in it or like, right. I remember a lot of different names I came through, and I was like, I never really focus on that type of stuff too much because I know like it's the name and then like what you build around it like makes the name, right? So tweed is a fabric. It's like a heavier fabric. You wouldn't actually really want to wear it in Florida, but I thought it sounded cool. So I was like, we're going to call it Tweeds. In fact, if you go on Instagram now and you type in Tweed Suit Shop, Instagram thinks that we like sell marijuana. Oh, so when you type it in, it doesn't show our account. So now I'm trying to figure that out. Really? So that's kind of funny.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's like probably some sort of AI thing.
Because the thing is like and when you're coming up with a name for whatever it is, whether it's your business, a podcast, or something like that. Because even when I was coming up with a name for the new podcast, just Suited for Greatness. I mean, you got to figure out the domain name. You've got to figure out, okay, is it a podcast already being called this?
Yeah.
Is it on Facebook? I mean, can you get all this stuff? Because those are the things that are challenges now that you got to realize in business. I mean, obviously, you want a great name to kind of capture, but you also got to be able to build around it. But at the same time, social media, can you get a social media name? Can you get a Facebook name?
Yeah, right. Yeah, there's a lot of things.
There's a lot of that you've got to figure out.
Yeah.
Because obviously, and the thing is like even when you're creating a name, I mean, you don't want to have a domain name that's like Suited for Greatness Podcast because it's so long.
Yeah.
So like, the shorter the better.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. So
I didn't think about any of that.
And it's like, well, it's like after doing this so much now and having my own companies and stuff that I've done, it's like there's a lot of work. There's a lot of prep work in that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And just kind of trying to figure out because, it does get difficult. Especially now, probably when you started your company, 5 years ago, it wasn't as prevalent because everybody wasn't buying names. Like there's people that just buy names now just so they can turn around and sell them, and try to sell them for a lot more. When I gotten sick, so when I was back in the hospital back in January, my domain name, Real Hustle, when I had that, expired. When it expired, somebody else bought it, and it was a company that sells them. And so
sells what?
Sells the domain names. So basically, I lost it, and now they're charging like I think $6,000 or $7,000 to buy.
Did they reach out to you to try to have you buy it?
No, they just
wait for expired websites for people to mess up, and then
so now it's like so then I had to go in and change. It wasn't that big of a deal. I just changed it to Real Hustle Podcast.
But you had realhustle.com.
Yeah, I had realhustle.com back
then.
That's
seems like it'd be like it would have already been taken. But
yeah, so that was the thing. So I was lucky that I had even gotten it. Yeah. So no big deal. I mean, so I just changed it. But like that's the type of stuff that's going on nowadays because so many people are trying to find good domain names, especially .com. It's hard to find. Got lucky with this one after we went through. I mean, I don't know, even with the podcast, you and Robert and I, we went through a bunch of different names trying to figure this one out. So going back to you started with your box truck, did that for what, a couple years?
Yeah, 2.5 years.
2.5 years.
Yep.
Going to place, everybody's house.
Yeah, I mean, I was knocking on doors. I remember like a few weeks into, I was doing a ton of door knocking. So like I'm trying to build a business, right? I got to get people to buy suits and get the name out there. And a guy named Fallon, he's still a client today. I've told this story on other podcasts, but I knocked on his door and I told him I just started this company called Tweeds and we make custom suits. Any chance you're in the market to buy one? Or, have you ever had a custom suit? Tried to get the conversation going. I showed him the truck and he came in the truck and bought a suit. And I never met the guy, which was super cool. It's like, people that give you that chance and like that motivation in the beginning, can really get the ball rolling, for you.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So then you started that. You've been working with the box trucks. You had that going because you've been to my house several times. You actually I think we even did like a mini commercial.
We did.
Coming to my house.
Yep.
And so, which is kind of awesome, but it kind of leads to where you're at now. So what's that? I think you just celebrated how many years
5
now?
year.
5 years with, but how long have you had your store in Sarasota?
Oh, 2 years.
So that one there has been 2 years.
Yeah.
So grew to a business from starting out selling suits out of a box truck to now having a storefront to retail brick and mortar.
Yeah.
What was that like? What was that kind of experience like for you? What made you decide to go that route?
Well, I think, I brought on my first guy, Rob, who's a friend of mine. We used to play basketball together for a long time. And I asked him if he wanted to join the Tweeds team and be my first guy, and he said yes after a few discussions. And so he was working with us for a few months, and we were working out of my house, and we had just had our baby. And so doing that, I just realized I probably need to get a shop or a warehouse or something to if I'm going to hire more people. And so we opened up our first brick and mortar store in Sarasota 6 months into that, into bringing on our first guy. And, just kind of gave me the option to like scale the business a little bit more. At that time, I thought, when I first brought on Rob, that maybe I was going to have like a bunch of box trucks just going around town, going to
Right.
people's homes and offices. I didn't know what direction the business was going to go in. 2.5 years ago, I wouldn't have thought this is where we'd be at, because I just kind of take it day by day. But, it just gave me the opportunity to have more credibility and to scale the business, I think.
Yeah, because you guys have done a lot, and you've done a lot to really grow what you've done. Even just here, as you're growing your Sarasota location, it became, a pretty well-known name. I mean, I'd go to events, and people would be like, "Is that a Tweeds suit? Is that a Tweeds suit?" I mean, you got pretty big, pretty fast, and your growth was really good, and you built that, and how many people do you have in the Sarasota location right now?
We have 4 guys.
4 guys?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's 5. 5 guys, 5 style consultants. Yeah.
Okay, 5 style consultants out of that office.
Yeah.
But what's crazy is you just opened up 2 more locations on October 1st.
Yeah.
So now you're what, at 5?
Yeah, 5 locations.
5 locations.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got Tampa, we've got St. Pete's, Naples, Orlando.
Yep, and Sarasota.
And Sarasota.
Yeah.
So 5 locations. Did you ever think you'd be at 5 locations?
Probably not. I
It's-
didn't really know where. Now I've got a clearer vision of, I think, where like we're going to take the company. But I don't think a year ago I did.
So is that just growth, or is that just maturity, or how did this come about? Like, I mean,
It's just, if you want to grow and scale a business, right, you got to get into new markets and, continue to get in front of new people and to give yourself more opportunity. And, for us, the way to do that, because we're in a niche business, is to, lend ourselves to new markets. I think we have a great process. I think we have a great product. I think we have great people. And I think we're going to continue to bring, more people on and, continue to perfect our process and make it better. And we're just going to continue to scale.
And see, that's the hard part, right? Because you've got a very niche product, right? Suits. I mean, obviously, you've got to know suits, right?
Yeah, it's suits, number one, and then it's custom, high-end suits.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. So, like, training somebody, training people to know all the nuances of different suits, the type of fabric, what you can do, what you can't do, and all that kind of stuff. How is that? I mean, what kind of process is that for you? I mean, bringing somebody new in to learn something like that.
Yeah, first thing we're going to teach somebody is like, they're going to sit, they're typically with one of our senior guys for like 6 weeks. And then all their appointments and all their fittings, so they can, understand like the process and everything, and they can hopefully start to develop their own way to, run appointments and stuff. And through that process, they're going to, feel the fabrics and see the fabrics, and, everything's pretty visual, so it's pretty, somewhat easy to learn, especially when you're doing it for a certain amount of time. So it's not super difficult.
And how do you, when you let's just say you're sitting down with a client, what's your process to figure out where you think they want to be as far as suit wise? Which material? I mean, are these questions that you are asking them?
Yeah.
Kind of directing them towards.
Well, yeah, we want to like first off figure out like why they came in the shop in the first place. Someone who's getting married is going to have like a color scheme that they're working with, or someone who's going to a business conference will want, maybe a pair of custom jeans and a sport coat, or someone who just, never had a suit in their wardrobe, then they, all these like different events and reasons why people are coming in can help us understand or have an idea of what they might be looking for. And then we can ask questions and figure it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you're, so you got these customers, so just to kind of give us an idea, roughly, starting price point is
$1850.
$1850.
Yep.
And what's the most expensive suit you ever sold?
We have a fabric with 24 karat gold woven in it.
What?
Yeah.
So I'm sure that's
it's very expensive. Yeah, that's our most expensive fabric right now.
Jeez.
Yeah, and then we have another one with like real platinum in it. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
I can't even imagine. I guess, can you see the gold in it?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah, it's
yeah.
literally a pinstripe. Like, it's like a 1-inch pinstripe, yeah. What? Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Yeah, and we got allocated that fabric. Like they don't just give that away. So we actually have a sample of it people can see.
Really?
Yeah, which is cool. Yeah.
Because that's, so you're talking pretty high end stuff, right?
Oh
so,
yeah.
So I mean,
we have opening collections, right? That is, $18.50 for a suit. I mean, a custom suit is a really good starting price point. Mm-hmm. Especially when you're thinking of it like it's an investment, it's long term, it's going to sit in my closet for, be there for a long time, weddings, occasions, whatever. But then, we carry Loro Piana, Dorme, Skabal, Huddersfield, like all those really high end stuff.
So you got some really good high end stuff, and then you've got that. So your client, obviously your clientele is, they're looking for something that's going to be high end that they can get. So you really need to know what you're talking about, especially with these people, as far as what they're looking for, and really give them that.
They're coming to us as like, their style consultant.
Yeah. So, and when you do that, because the other thing is like you were talking about weddings, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, that's not cheap, right? No. And if you're going to have 5 groomsmen, and they're all in a different suit, So,
typically, like we love doing groom's parties too, but to be real, like if you're getting married, I think it is the best time for you to get a custom suit. It's the best excuse for you to get one if, you haven't had one. But, we always tell the guys like, if the groomsmen don't want to buy a custom suit, we get it. It's not their big day.
Right.
They go to Menswear House and just get a rental or whatever, find something there, and they have a good process. But, it's a good time for a groom to get a custom suit.
Yeah.
It's not, one of the pluses is like with the bride, she wears that wedding dress one time, and most times the bride spends 5 times more than the guy on their suit. It just doesn't make any sense. If you're getting married, I highly recommend getting a custom suit.
That's awesome.
I really, really do.
So as far as all that concerns, right? So one of the things that I like to ask is, as we're getting more and more into this, because, the podcast, part of the change in the podcast is talking about lifestyle, right? And part of that lifestyle is diversifying your personal time. Obviously, now you've got 5 locations, right? So, which demands a lot of your time, right? Going to Orlando, going to Naples, going to St. Pete, Tampa, wherever you have to go. You're a dad, right? Yeah. And so, obviously, you got a fiance. Yeah. And so, how do you figure out, because this is very key in what you're doing, right? Because you can't just not be there for your kids.
Right.
So how do you manage your time so that way you can also make sure you're there for your kids, make sure you're there for your fiance?
Yeah.
So what does that would typically look like for you?
So obviously for me, like Tweeds is super important, right? Like it's, I love building the business and everything. It's a tough thing, right? Because it's like, I love it so much. So for me, I have to think about like, where can I find extra time and give that time to the kids and stuff. So like in the morning, like we don't open our shop until 10 a.m. Typically I'm there like 8:30, 9. But like, if I know I'm not going to see Donnie that night or something, or the kids, I'll get up, I'll get him out of bed at like 6:45, and then he likes to get a peanut butter bar at O&A Coffee downtown.
Okay.
So I'll get him up. We'll go get a peanut butter bar, and then we just go walk downtown for an hour and a half. And our Basil's still a little young. She's 15 months. So we'll have that time too soon. It'll be both of them doing that. But it's like always trying to find like extra time. It's like, I need to start working out again. I haven't been in the gym, but it's like,
right.
You find time for the stuff that's important. If you want to hit the gym and you have a busy life, like, you get up at 4 a.m. and you go hit the gym. You know what I mean? It's like just always finding the extra time to get it done. And, people are like, aren't you tired and stuff like that? And I don't, if you've got like this like brain that can constantly keeps going and like you're excited for the future and like everything you're building, I don't think you need like a ton of sleep. You can figure it out.
Yeah. That's the thing is like, you can figure out and make the time, but you got to make it so it's a priority.
Yeah.
One of the conversations I was just having with someone is like, the thing is I was the guy, and until I got sick, that just ran and ran, right? And I burnt myself out, and it was bad. And so I was working 7 days a week, always, never nonstop. And the thing was, as though I wasn't taking the time to spend with my family
Yeah.
or taking the time. Even when I was with my family, I would take phone calls. I would like answer text messages. Like we'd be out to dinner.
Yeah.
So it's, and one of the things is that we got to realize, and one of the things that's really talking about what we're doing and why I wanted to bring a lifestyle piece into this is because we really need to sit down and focus on the people that are in our lives. Because, when I went back and I had my near-death experience, you realize that everything in the world doesn't matter. I mean, we work and we do what we love to do. Like you love being a part of Tweeds and having that success of the business. But it's also the thing is like, your kids are very important to you and your family is very important to you. And making that time for them it's a necessity. I mean, you need it because I think in a lot of ways what people don't realize is if you just keep going, you're going to miss a lot of their life.
Yeah.
And you're going to miss a lot of what's going on. Yes, business is important and it's, you got to have that, you want that success and there's people counting on you. But there's also people at home that are counting on you.
Yeah.
And it's important. So scheduling it, making sure you make the time for that, for your family is a huge component of what we're doing. And you need that. So that's why I like to bring it up. And I like to really kind of talk about it because I think so many people in the business or entrepreneurs, it's like, oh, I've got to work 24/7. I've got to do this. I've got to do this. I got to do this. You can keep doing that, but the problem is you're going to run yourself into the ground. And I'm from personal experience. And so, I know this. And so, and that's why I always like to get people, hey, look what you're doing. I mean, all right, I know I've got to work all day, but I'm going to get, my son up a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
We're going to go out. We're going to go spend an hour and a half that morning so he gets to see daddy and get that one-on-one time with you. And so that way he feels like you're contributing to him, right? Yeah. Because it's important. You don't want to just go full force and forget about what's at home. I mean, because, that's a big part. When you go, and I hate to say it, when I was looking back at my life and I'm going, okay, well, all I did was work for the last 8 years nonstop and basically was trying to kill myself, just make money, right? It's like, okay, well, that's great. I need to make money, but at the same point, you got to have family. You got to have balance, because what's it all worth?
Yeah.
So you've grown, and that's one of the things that I love about you, and I love about your hustle and about what you've done, growing these new locations. Now having 5 different stores. How do you manage all that? How do you make sure that, because obviously having retail locations and a brick and mortar store, right, is not cheap. Yep. I mean, because the thing is, look at it. A lot of people are going online. A lot of people are buying stuff online nowadays because brick and mortar is expensive, and you got to pay the rent. You got to pay whatever it else is, So obviously, it's very important for you guys to make sure that your locations are successful. So how do you handle the day-to-day operations to make sure you're getting what you need?
In terms of what?
So make sure you're getting the sales, making sure that you're bringing the people in, making sure your employees that are running, let's say the Naples location, that they're bringing in the people.
Yeah.
To make sure, because obviously you got to have it to, make sure you can pay the rent, to pay the, right?
I mean, your people have to be motivated to want to sell and get people in, right? So, I mean, we have a really good commission structure, so that's important right there. Everybody's motivated to, get people in, give them a good process, a good product so that they, can sell. And then, I mean, we do a ton of marketing, right?
Sure.
I always say, if people don't know who you are, they can't do business with you. That's a Grant Cardone thing.
And I've said the same things for many years.
If, you think that, everybody knows, you because you're you and,
right.
People know you, but, there's millions of people around here, or whatever it is, I don't know, but, and I always come at the mindset of who doesn't know about us and how can we hit new markets? So, if we're talking about sales, you got to have a good, you got to have good people that know how to, sell the product, and can give a good experience. And then you have to make sure that on my part, I'm bringing people into the business and, you know, letting people know Tweeds exists for when they need a custom suit.
So when you're hiring somebody, what do you look for? Like, I mean, so when you're sitting there, because obviously you want to make sure that they're going to bring in people, they're going to be able to sell.
I mean, the number
right?
one thing for me is like, I just want to be able to have people that I like to work with. You know what I mean? And like, they got a good smile on their face, a good attitude. They're easy to talk with. They're a trustworthy person. They're, you know, all that for me is like number one. Like that's super important for me. I mean, and mostly everybody we brought on the team so far still has been either, you know, people I've known, I mean, or clients that, you know, liked it and they started, you know, working with us. So that's been it so far.
I mean, because I know you're a lot of, I don't know if I've seen anybody turnover wise that I can remember, but I mean, everybody that you've had for a long time.
No, we lost one guy, and that was all due to just medical stuff that it just didn't work out, and that's it.
That's it. Since you've had your business, isn't that kind of crazy?
Yeah, it's awesome.
I mean, you know,
and that's, you know, that's important too. It's like you know, I want to build a business where like these guys are invested in the company because, you know, they like the mission. You know, we're building something really, really cool. They can come in and make a good living, you know, and, you know, just be a part of something really, really cool. And I think we're doing that.
Yeah, it says something about, you know, who you are too, right? Because obviously, you know, as you have a business, and with any business owner, you know, you're only as good as the people behind you, or your team, or whoever you're working with, and really trying to figure out, you know, okay, well, you know, is this person a good fit? Because, you know, you want to make sure that the camaraderie between everybody that's in your business works well together.
Yep.
Because, you know, if not, that's going to be tough. You know, I've been to many of your events, and I've talked to many of your people, you know, and one thing that I think is great about what you guys are doing is everybody's there to help everybody else. I mean, even though you're in sales and it's competitive, right? But y'all work together. I mean, you'll help each other out, or whatever it is. It's like, you know, there's competition, but at the same time,
it's friendly competition.
Yes, it's a friendly competition between you guys. And, you know, the thing is you're also willing to help out each other. You know, and it's great because, you know, when I go in there, I mean, everybody's happy, everybody's having fun, everybody just seems to be enjoying what they're doing. They're excited about being there. You can tell, like, the atmosphere that you've created with your style consultants it's unique. It's not like, you know, I mean, how many times did you go into a department store and they just hate being there? You can tell they hate being there.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and so for your guys, it's awesome to watch.
Yeah, we have a really, really good culture. Like, you know, I think we just slowly built it and just brought on good people so far. And, you know, I know it'll get trickier and trickier as we get more personalities together and, you know, that, but, you know, just part of the game, and we'll figure it out.
I mean, and you had a good people, because I mean, it's Connor, right, that went down to Naples.
Yeah, Connor went down to Naples.
I mean, you know, and for you have somebody who just said, you know what, I'm gonna pick up my family and move all the way down to Naples to go, you know, run the location down there for you, is, you know, that's a huge testament on you and him believing in what you guys are doing. Because, you know, obviously, I mean, that's tough. I mean, you're starting a brand new store in a brand new location, brand new area, you know, and
these guys have to understand. They have to have some sort of trust in me too, to like be like, all right, I trust that this is going to work out. Right. You know, it's a big move to do that. And all the guys, I mean, Tampa, you know, Matt moved up to Tampa, moved his whole life to Tampa. Mike moved his whole life to St. Pete. Spets moved his life to Orlando. Connor moved to Naples. And, you know, it's kind of cool because, like, Sarasota is like, you know, our place where we, like, train and cultivate this environment. And then we find the really good people and hopefully shift them around.
That's pretty awesome. So then you got some good leaders because they've got the culture from here moving there, and then they could expand that same culture out there. You know, and that's one of the neat things. You know, and the thing is what, you know, and I find kind of crazy is that the success that you guys are having. You know, first of all, we're in Florida, so you would think like not a ton of people would be buying suits in Florida because it's hot. Yeah. But you get a lot of people that still are buying suits. And the thing is that suits in a lot of ways, at least here in Florida, it's kind of old. Like it's old school, right?
Yeah, people have like that whole, that
It's
stigma or whatever stigma behind or dogma.
right.
Like, people wear suits that are super baggy. You look at The Last Dance, the Michael Jordan documentary, and like their shoulder points are super wide.
Mm-hmm.
But, we can make whatever someone's looking for. I mean, I'm wearing like a cool look today with the hat on. Like you could dress it up or dress it down. You've got a T-shirt on, underneath.
It's kind of crazy because like nowadays with suits, I mean, like sometimes I'll just be like, I'll throw on a pair of jeans and a sport coat.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what
yeah,
I mean?
some J's.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
So you can, however you want to be, and that's the thing is like, and it's nice because like, I mean, if I go out on a date night or whatever, if I just want to wear a pair of jeans and a sport coat, right, you can, and it's still classy enough that you can do that without having to feel like you have to put on a whole suit.
Yep.
And the nice thing is that I think the transition now for a lot of people is like, hey, I don't have to be in a suit and tie, because I think that's the old school mentality.
Yeah.
It's like when you wear a suit, I got to put on a button down, I got to put on a tie and everything else. No, you can be much more relaxed now and just either just a jacket or something like I'm wearing where actually I got a T-shirt on, and be comfortable in it. And I think the stigmatism of that is going away in a lot of ways because of what you guys do, because you're showing that. And not only that, you expand it to where now you've got T-shirts, you've got jeans and custom jeans.
Yeah, we do a ton of custom jeans over sport coats. Like, that's been a huge thing for us.
Yeah, I mean, the jean thing with the sport coats, I mean, that's been quite a look. And now you have shoes too?
Yeah.
So what made you get into that, going that route? I mean, did you see
custom jeans fit in really, really good with what we did already.
Mm-hmm.
And like, especially just hearing clients like, want like to wear sport coats over a pair of jeans. Like we're just trying to fill that gap in. And we have amazing jeans that are the denim's from Italy, and then they're made in Portugal. They're awesome. We actually don't do the shoes anymore. We stopped doing the shoes.
Oh, okay.
Just didn't really fit in as well. But yeah, then we do some casual wear. Like, again, we heard people say that they want to wear T-shirts underneath their sport coats. So we just kind of designed a really easy line of bamboo shirts. And, that was it. But we want to stay like, true to what we are, which is like a custom suit company. And, we're not really interested in getting into a bunch of other things like accessories. This is what we do. We have a little few extra things if you want it. But we want you to come to us for like a custom suit or a tuxedo.
So do you travel? Do you have to ever travel over to the other country, like wherever your suits are being made, or how does that work?
Yeah, our suits are manufactured in Thailand. I actually never was able to make it over there yet because COVID happened, and then now we have babies, but hopefully soon. I've been using the same company since day one, and they're absolutely phenomenal. And so, yeah, their quality is awesome.
How did you find them?
A lot of research. Much research, yeah. And like testing out different ones and like late nights because obviously the time zone's different. And then landed on this one and it ended up working out. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, every suit that I've gotten from you has been amazing.
Yeah.
And it's almost always a perfect fit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always comes back. It's like, I think might be like a little tweak here or but very rarely.
Yeah.
I mean, so they always come back very clean, very crisp. So it's a pretty awesome story to watch what you guys have done. I mean, I know you still got the box trucks because they're still out there. I see them.
Yeah.
I know you don't use them as much anymore, but like as far as like they're out, I see them in different locations. I see the billboards.
Yeah, we use them as like an advertising thing. We were actually renovating one of the trucks right now to figure out what I'm going to do with it, but I just thought it'd be cool to bring one back. Okay. So that should be done in a few months. But yeah, that's exciting.
And then I know you got the billboards. I see the billboards. I was up in Tampa. I think I saw one, and then I was somewhere else. I think I was like down south.
Yeah, probably. We have a few down in like Osprey and Venice.
That's what it was. It was Osprey. I was like, there's another suit. There's another sign. So I mean, it's awesome to watch the growth, and So, what is your biggest thing as far as giving back to your employees? What do you think that would be for you?
What do you like?
So like as far as giving back, as far as like, a lot of times, I mean, as far as, I guess, because obviously you want to have your team is who you are, right? As far as the success that you have. So give me some examples of how you feel you give back to them that helps the, I guess, the camaraderie.
I mean, you just have to be a good person, right? It's like show the leadership. I'm a hard worker. They see that, and so they reciprocate that. Like we all, I might ask one of the guys to do something, but if they ask me to do something, I'll do it too. I don't have I never come with that mentality of like, you're the boss, like I'm the boss. Like no, like we're all, you always get like the power of reciprocation, like always. So, just overall, just being a good person. I never want to have like that boss mentality. Like I think Rob's awesome too. I just think like me and Rob are somewhat similar. Like, I love his leadership style. I mean,
well, I think it's a lot of times, you both are very humble too, right? You could let the success get to your head, where like a lot of people do. And so it's, the comparison is there, right? Because I think a lot, like you were just saying, you're willing to do what they do, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
of
if
course.
you're willing to,
It's my, at the end of the day, it's my business, right? If you're not willing to do every part of it, why should somebody else want to do it?
And I think that's a huge part, right? So because people emulate what you're doing, and if they're like, "Oh, he thinks he's too good to be doing what I do," then they're just gonna kind of resent you.
Yeah, no,
So like that's they want to know that you're willing to get in the trenches with them. They
Yeah.
know that you're willing to go and do whatever it takes, to be successful and get them successful. I think as a good leader, and when have a business, and I think a good takeaway for our listeners is that you got to get in and be with them, and you got to show them how to be successful, and give them what you've done, right? Give back to them. And that's what I kind of mean is like you give back to them what you've learned, what works for you, and how to grow. And that way you can help make them successful and really build that with them, because if you feel they want to know that you care, right? They want to know that, hey, you're good, right? You got the 5 stores, you got this, you got that, but
no, we're not
really,
good. We're not good.
So so I think that's a huge part of it.
Yeah.
One of the kind of like the last question is obviously, when we're in business, and I think any good business owner realizes how much their communities mean to them, because they're the communities that are coming to your business.
Yeah.
What's some of the things that you guys do to give back to the community?
Well, so we're doing one example. So December 14th is going to be our holiday party this year.
Okay.
Which is going to be huge. It's going to be so it's going to be really big. Lamborghini of Sarasota is sponsoring it. Fin and Tonic is sponsoring the food. And this year we're like getting a bunch of sponsors. We're going to have an exotic car show.
Nice.
It's going to be awesome. But we're doing a toy rally, which is going to be for John Hopkins, right? That's how you say it?
John Hopkins.
Yeah, something like yeah. And then we're going to be giving away a few larger Tweeds gift cards and some artwork. And we're going to be giving all those donations to Beyond the Spectrum. My nephew has autism and he goes there, so we're going to be giving that money to them. But that's one example. We've done that before in the past too, but we're super excited about that.
Because I really do believe that like giving back to the community is huge, right? I mean, we're very fortunate about what we have and what we've given, and so like if we give back, and business owners need to understand this, is like learn how to give back. Whether you just either go to a soup kitchen or you go help give something. Give something back to the community. I mean, you expect the community to come give you business. Go back and give them something as well.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing
so,
is...
support local businesses.
Yeah,
like,
it means a lot, right?
Yeah.
It does mean a lot for people to really give back and support, other small businesses in our community. And, because obviously we know how hard it is with a small business to get up and running. We're not a big company, so... Like when people see you out and about and they see you giving back, that means a lot to them. Yeah. And it means a lot to the community, because they're like, well, I want to do business with them because I see what they're doing and how they're giving back. And it does make a pretty awesome thing.
Yeah.
So one last question, and then I'm going to let you go. In your opinion, what is one of the, as far as our listeners are concerned, and entrepreneurs and business owners or people that are trying to have success, what one piece of advice would you give them?
If they've already got a business, or if they want to start a business, or what?
Just anything. Just, I mean, even if they're in business or getting into business. Which,
If you already have a business, advertise more.
advertise more?
If you're trying to grow it, is that the question?
Yeah, whatever
Okay.
you feel like.
If you don't have a business and you want to start a new business and like you're afraid to make the leap, find something that would make you committed to starting that venture, whether it's quitting your job or I wouldn't say signing a lease, but that would make you committed to it. Find something that would make you go all in on it, and then just figure it out. That'd be it.
That'd be it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, if you already have a business, I just think like if you're trying to grow it or like you're not having as much success, go figure out how to make more people find out who you are. And that would help you.
Well, that's kind of the thing is, and there's so many different ways to do that, which people don't realize. Social media is a huge way.
So much.
Podcast is a huge way. Right? So find
other
different ways.
Stages like this, like I'm doing. Right,
So, I mean, there's different ways to really grow and prosper your business. It's just, figuring out how to do that. So many times people don't use social media, and social media is a huge platform out there, and it's free.
Yeah.
You can use social media and hit every channel, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. It doesn't cost you anything.
Yeah.
You can go in and make your own designs. Canva or whatever, make your own things, make your own reels, go out and talk to other businesses and really help build your brand.
Yeah.
I think it's a huge thing of getting your name out. And I'm a huge believer in Grant Cardone as well. If people don't know who you are, how you expect them to do business with you.
Yeah.
Get your name out there and make sure it happens.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't have a customer to sell your product to,
what are you doing?
You got to find the customer first, and then perfect your process. And make sure it's a good experience.
So,
yeah.
Well, I appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for having me.
As always, thanks.